This story happened during my first tour in South Korea. I was stationed at Camp Casey in Dondecheon from 2002 to 2008. During my time here, we would be training all the time. It felt like we lived in the field. One training event we had to take part in was called the Expert Infantry Badge. It was 1 week of training on different tasks and another week of testing. We were on the training phase still, and were told the next day was going to be land navigation, day and night. Land navigation is a critical skill in my career field. So we all get up early, go to the arms room, and take out assigned weapons and other BS we have to carry. Then, once everyone has all the equipment, we put on the rucksack, which is just a big backpack full of weight, and start walking towards the land nav site. We walked about 2 miles before we finally reached the site. Once at the site, we got a safety briefing and got some more items we will use for the navigation course. Then you get sent out to one of 5 starting points once you leave the briefing area after your time starts. So we all go and finish the day portion. Now we're waiting for the sky to go dark to start the second half. Now, walking in the woods at night with no light is always a little creepy, but being in the South Korean woods made it seem even worse. It's my turn to finally head out, and the time is just after midnight. I move to my starting point, which is the only spot you can use a red light at. I sit down and begin to plot points on my map. I noticed a few of the points I had seen earlier during the day, so it was going to make the night much faster. I start up the side of the mountain heading towards the top, where my plan was to go towards the farthest point first and then work my way back to get to the others. The ridge we were on was about 2 miles long and had a big cliff on the western edge. We called it the Hovey Cut. Once I reached the top of the hill, I started moving along the ridge line and decided to cut through a low area to make it faster to get to the point I was headed to. I came into an open area and walked up a little farther up a small hill before I realized I was standing on what people call a happy mound. The mound was actually a grave of a Korean, so I jumped off, said I was sorry, and continued on my way. Once I was about 200 yards from my point, I hear this awful screaming start in the distance. I thought I was gonna pee in my pants when I heard it. Then I realized it was the Korean dog farm not far from the base. I am close to my point now, and I can see the glowing lights that are on all the points. As I get to the point, I see this other soldier standing next to it in the moonlight. I take my paperwork out, and as I start to write the information on the point, I can't shake the sad look on this kid's face. We aren't supposed to talk to the other soldiers as we are told it might be cheating. I couldn't help it, so I said, "Hey, don't worry, bro. It's just land nav. You got this." He looks up at me and smiles and says, Yeah, you're right. Thanks." Then he started to walk up the trail to look for his next point. Now, once the kid started to walk away, it made me start to watch him. He was walking in the same dead, noisy leaves I just walked through, making all kinds of noise, but he didn't make a sound as he walked through them. Then he disappeared around the corner and I couldn't see him anymore because of no moonlight. I quickly put my gear away and started back up the trail no more than about 10 to 15 seconds after he left. I was making a lot of noise as I was running and still couldn't catch him. Once I reached the top of the trail, I noticed 2 soldiers standing at a point and asked if they just seen someone walk by them. They said no, and I was a little confused as to how that could be. So then I ran back down the trail next to the safest cliff I could, and when I reached the bottom of the trail, to my surprise, he wasn't there. Now I just decided to finish my point so I could go back and get some sleep. The next morning, we were woken up and told we had to go to the land nav site to find the missing soldier. After we spent all morning looking, we were told over the radio that the soldier had been found. We all went to the chapel that afternoon, and they showed his picture on the screen. As soon as I saw it, I felt like I stopped breathing. The picture was the same guy I spoke with at the land nav point. Apparently, he had fallen off the cliff, and when he landed, broke both of his legs and his face hit a rock, and the wound made him bleed out all night long. I always wonder if he was sad because it was his ghost I was talking to. I will never forget that kid.